Welcome to Fans of the Forge, where we are recapping Season 6, Episode 8, General Yamashita's Gunto.
Interesting.
So, our guys this week are Richie Crew. He's got 12 years experience. He's a full-time smith. Then Elijah Williams, full-time smith with 17 years of experience. Austin Hensley, part-time smith with 4 years of experience. And Dan Linton, a part-time bladesmith.
Who was on Knife or Death?
Aha.
So we'd actually talked to Dan Linton back when he was on Knife or Death via DM or something, just chatting back and forth.
Yeah.
But he's a part-time bladesmith.
No years.
No.
First time
Maybe-
I've ever seen that.
Maybe
Yeah.
it hasn't been a full year.
Could be.
Wow.
I know when he was on Knife or
Bold.
Death, I don't think he brought his own weapon. I think he may have had one from somebody else. I think.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and watch it, but
alright.
I don't. That's what I vaguely recall. Anyway,
Okay. So, for this episode, there's the return of the pain train. Yeah.
Half Day Jay's back.
Jay Nielsen. All right. In round one, they are tasked with making a Fairbairn Sykes fighting knife. It's World War II. British commandos used it. Good for silent attacks. Take 3 different diameters of W1 steel and forge into a billet. There needs to be a diamond cross-section, central ridge through tang, between 8 and 10 inches long for the blade, and no longer than 22 inches total overall length.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat design.
Yeah.
It's tough. It makes the challenge a lot tougher when you have to make a very specific style of blade right off the bat.
Yeah. And that diamond cross-section. A little, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tough.
Definite little curveball there.
Yeah.
So, leading off, we have Richie. Shifted his top layer, trying to forge weld. And he forged in more of a spear point than the dagger point that they were looking for. He ended up quenching with no major issues and had a very wide and steep blade profile.
Right.
So,
That's what gave it more of the spear.
yeah.
I believe.
For Elijah, he took the smaller pieces. He flattened them before attempting to forge weld them. He spent a lot of time making sure he had a good forge weld.
Right. He was going for a long time.
He really wanted to make sure he had a good forge weld. He spent a lot of time on this. He had a good dagger point that was forming and started beveling before the heat treat. And I'm having a warp after the heat treat.
Right.
For Austin, went for the 3 largest size of W1, cut off discs and weld them together like a welding cake, and easily gets to forge
Wedding
welding.
cake.
Yeah.
What's a welding cake?
Oh, I see. Yes. From this angle. Well, I think welding cake sounds pretty cool.
That would be kind of neat. I'd like
Alright.
to see a welding cake.
So he stacked up like a wedding cake, a tiered wedding cake, and it worked out really well for him.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Yeah. He got far and decided to thread his tang during round 1. Had a good quench and was working on grinding his bevels.
That's a good round 1 right there.
Yeah.
If you're getting on
Yeah,
to
really
grinding
nailed
and
it.
doing the threading. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
For Dan, he welded together the 3 smallest sizes and tried to forge weld, but it fell apart, so he restarted. He's never made anything like this dagger before, and was thermocycling his blade before quenching. No issues with the quench. Did have a hard time trying to get even bevels ground into the dagger, though.
Well, yeah. I can imagine. It doesn't look like it'd be easy.
No, especially if it's with a little experience.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for judging, Richie, Jay Nielsen said the profile is close but can still be fixed. For Elijah, the warp in the blade is a bit difficult. Austin, it looked good but needs the tang to get ground down more. And for Dan, essentially made the wrong style of blade.
Yeah, it just wasn't even kind of close to what had to be there.
No. So Dan's at least finished and he ended up getting a boot.
Yep. So we move on to round 2, where they had to attach a bronze handle, guard, and pommel, in addition to fixing any issues, and they only got 2 hours to finish the work
Yeah.
this time. So real time limits there. I can only imagine what's going through their heads when they're like, all right, we get 3 hours here. 2 hours
2
to
hours.
finish your handles.
Like, what?
Your handle, guard, and pommel.
Oh my gosh. So, Richie, He needed to fix the blade to give it more of a hollow grind so that it would get the proper blade geometry there. And then he was working on keying the tang area for his handle scales. He then shaped his bronze handle before attaching to the blade, and he tapped his handle on with a tip stuck into the table, and the judges were concerned about that.
Yeah.
It was what it was, but
Whatever, it's wood. Just don't bend on it.
right. For Elijah, he got the oxyacetylene torch to bend his blade straight, and then he welded on threads before putting the guard on, and he had to take the components out and start again because of that. So, what are you going to do? Austin, then, he was working on thinning out his tang. He had a little bit of issues with his pommel coming loose, and then he found out that was because the threads broke.
Yeah.
So he had to weld his pommel on to hold it in place. And then we hit a commercial break. We're watching, and it's like, hey, there's this new show.
A new show on History?
On History Channel.
Tell me about it, Chris. Civil
called-
War Gold?
What was that?
Civil War Gold?
Not
Oh, that
Civil
one does
War
look
Gold.
Lost Gold of World War II?
Nope, not the Lost
Oh.
Gold of World War II. It's called The Butcher.
The Butcher?
The Butcher.
That's not about gold.
It's not about, well,
You're right.
depends on your definition of gold. I mean,
Meat gold?
meat could be considered gold in the right instances.
That's a stretch, man. Come on.
Oh, come on. From the pitmaster himself over here. Yeah, exactly. You know what it's about. So anyway, The Butcher is a show that has
Okay.
butchers come on.
Right.
4 butchers compete to
Butcher.
butcher a mystery animal,
Ah,
like an alligator or an ostrich or something else.
okay.
Python. Was that one of them?
I don't recall, but it looks interesting.
I
and
wonder how hard a python would be to butcher. Because it's just a tube of meat.
I don't
Right?
know.
There's not much anatomy there.
They have like a spine of sorts, but it's like, how do you
And it's really
bone
thick.
it?
Like the muscle's really thick.
Well,
Right?
you know what? Maybe that'll be covered on the show, so we should probably check it out.
All I know is that if you want to peel the skin off, you start and you hold one and you
Oh,
rip it
yeah.
out and all the guts come out.
Oh
and
yeah,
Cook it
pulls
up.
right out.
Yeah.
Nice and graphic for you.
Thanks.
Anyway, we thought it looked a little like Forge and Fire meets Chopped, which is also funny because Forge and Fire kind of looked like Chopped meets knife making, so
Right.
it's like double on the Chopped.
Mm.
And it starts on May 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
Hey,
So-
all right.
Ooh, wow, thanks, Sister Channel. What a great birthday present. Anyway, we'll be checking it out.
Okay.
We'll see what it's about.
Here's a review. They cut the meat.
Boy, did they.
Wow.
Anyway, it's time to get back to what we were all waiting for.
J. Nielsen Pain Train?
The J. Nielsen pain train is rolling in.
Okay.
He's going to be stabbing some gas cans using their blades.
Okay.
So for Richie, his blade held up good. There was a little piece that broke off the tip, and the handle was a little bit out of alignment. For Elijah, still had an edge, and everything was still tight. It was nicely done. And then for Austin, he had an ugly handle.
An ugly ass handle.
I just, that was the whole point, was to not
Chris
say that.
said, Austin, you had an ugly ass handle.
None of this is making it in. Anyway,
Ugly ass handle. The hell are you thinking, Austin? Dan, that's an ugly ass handle.
anyway, we continue on.
This is getting uncomfortable. He's starting to mess with his hat.
I'm not uncomfortable. That's how I think. The grain structure and the weight of the handle caused the knife to break during testing. Austin gets the boot because
Of his ugly ass handle.
This is the next episode.
Austin gets the boot
Austin gets the boot.
because of the catastrophic failure of his knife. So we move on to round 3.
Right.
So, General Yamashita's Gunto, used by the General Yamashita as he led troops to the invasion of Singapore and Malaya in World War II. Traditionally curved sword adorned with tassels to signify ranking of the general, and primarily a ceremonial weapon. So the blade length from habaki to tip is 28 to 29 inches
Wow. 1 whole inch.
Mhm.
A variation there.
on a long blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need a Suba-style guard, a Suka handle, sword knot ring, and a sword knot that is no more than 6 inches in length. And they only get 4 days to build this sword.
Oh, yeah.
Really sticking it to him, man.
Yeah, this was a tough challenge for everybody there.
So for Richie, on day 1, he uses a coal forge and has a power hammer to help him move the metal. Day 2 was spent planning to heat treat the blade, and he makes a quench tank out of a fiberglass container. When he goes to quench, the oil catches fire, and the extinguisher isn't putting it out. It is a big fire in a wooden cabin.
Yeah.
Eventually gets the fire out, and the blade ends up being straight, even after catching the fiberglass on fire.
That was real sketchy there for a moment.
Yeah.
They don't show day 3. How can you top day 2?
Yeah.
Day 4, he starts to wrap the handle. This is what Richie said. Forged and Fire teaches you stuff. So far, I've been a blacksmith, a bladesmith, a seamstress, and a firefighter. Can't wait to see Doug cut a billy goat or something.
It's an ugly ass handle. Actually, it's all right. Was his the one that fell apart?
It's broke.
No, the one on this one, on the final shot. The one that started coming unwrapped.
Oh, I don't remember whose it was.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So then Elijah, on day 1, he has issues trying to get a good heat using his small forge. Day 2, his daughter comes in looking for her knife while he is working on getting better heat in his forge. He heat treats the blade and gets a warp, so he heat treats it again and gets it mostly straight.
Let's talk about the daughter. How old is the daughter?
I don't recall.
So, I don't know. I thought she was young. She's looking for a knife. Her knife?
Yeah, where's my knife?
I assumed it would be a toy knife.
We hope so. But he's
a wooden knife. But he's a knife maker. You never know.
Maybe he made like a really blunt one.
Yeah, could be.
Or one out of wood.
Yeah, a wood one wouldn't be surprised.
But it's just funny. Daddy, where's my knife?
Yeah.
Day 3 was working on the habaki and the Subagard, and then they didn't show day 4.
Right.
So for testing, it wasn't a billy goat. Doug comes in with the pig carcass kill. Richie, his blade is balanced and very light. The blade is slightly bent, but the edge is very smart. Cut the pig into thirds, and it will kill. I didn't say
sorry.
Elijah.
Whoa.
Too far. I'm sorry. Continue.
You don't get to use my mouse anymore then.
Oh, jeez Louise.
It
Wow.
was an ugly ass scroll.
Elijah, every slash cut very deep. It was easy to thrust, sharp edge, and it will kill. Then we go on to the strength test with Jay Nielsen bamboo attack. Richie, nice job. Edge held up nicely. It's balanced well. The wrap is coming undone, but otherwise it's well done.
Right. Okay.
Elijah, nice job. The edge is still sharp down the blade. There's a slight bend in the blade. And then for the sharpness test, they had to cut a burlap bag. Richie, it's very sharp, but it's coming unraveled. And then Elijah, the edge is cut all the way through. A strong and sharp edge, it will cut. And Elijah wins. The scale and dimensions of Richie's were off, and the handle came unraveled.
Yeah.
They didn't really go into any detail about how the scale dimensions were off, which was
Yeah.
interesting. They just said it at the very end, like, well, what, how, where?
They didn't
show us,
they
tell
didn't
us.
discuss
No.
it at all. So it's kind of weird that they would say that at the end like that.
Right.
I mean, the handle coming unraveled. Otherwise, they both.
I would have just been
the
like,
same,
oh,
so
I
it's
would have expected, okay, well, this is coming apart. Like, okay, that's a problem.
With dimensions being off, does that mean it was not within parameters?
Then we don't know. It doesn't say. Maybe not. Or maybe they're saying if the scale was wrong, maybe like parts of the handle were not to the right scale. But does that really matter? I mean, is it that big a difference if it's like a giant piece here or a very small piece here? It's hard to
I
tell.
don't know.
Anyway, that was the episode. Congratulations to Elijah on your win.
Good job.
And nice job to everyone else in the
Yeah.
competition, as always. And thanks everybody for watching.
Hey, by the way, we have a giveaway going on.
That's right.
It's been extended.
It's been extended to May 31st. You can get those entries in. All you have to do is follow us, JD Hungerford and Forge and Feathers on Instagram, and comment on the Instagram post saying hashtag FOTFGAW. You can find the posts on our Instagram page. Pretty easy. The link will be in the description of this video. And yeah, you can try to enter to win a mini crossbow bolt decorative thing that we're putting together. We also will have an ostrich egg.
Yep.
We have Teresa's great crocheted knife banner. I love it. And a hot sauce made by me. I just made a new batch of pineapple habanero.
Oh.
And it's extremely
All right.
spicy. I had to up the spice level on it a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
Cranked it up.
It's a punch in the face of pineapple. I like it. We have
It's
a
a
couple
punch in the
bottles
face,
of
and then you taste the pineapple.
that. Yeah. So that'll be a good one. That someone might be interested in that. I do have a berry hot sauce available. So whoever wins, they'll get
Okay.
their pick.
Cool.
Pineapple or berry.
Both are quite good.
They're both delicious.
Okay.
I may be biased because I use them all the time. But anyway,
Free stuff.
free stuff. Enter the contest.
You don't
It's
have to
pretty
do much
simple.
to get some free stuff.
So thanks everybody for watching. And we will catch you with the next wrap up.
Yeah. See you. Dan, that's an ugly ass handle.